Okay. I think we can maybe
Begin.
perhaps be live right now. Let's see.
Think.
Let's see the Facebook.
It says you're live actually.
Okay.
On
good.
my phone at least.
Good. Good. All right, and like I said, I'm going to. It's not the best situation here, us like this and my camera there, but we're gonna, I guess, maneuver a little bit.
Used to play that in Control back in the day. It seems like a pretty straightforward.
I already got busted that you're playing on only computer games and watching live streams.
Ah. Okay, so here we are live. Let's turn that off. We can come back here for the chat. And then we have Facebook here. All right, and then one more thing I need to check is this, and we're live here as well.
Yes.
We're live here. Again, that's the least amount of lag, actually. All right, live chat. Cool. All right, so guys, my name is Ville Virtanen or Darude, and I should think that obviously you know that if you are on this platform on either Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, which I'm trying to do this triple stream right now. I've got a microphone right here. There's a mic for Max right here. Hopefully you guys can hear him. I'll be checking out the chats every once in a while. And yeah, so this guys is Max Millian.
Hi guys.
And he's my fellow Finnish polar bear brother, I guess I could say so.
Guess we can.
Actually, I don't know if it's a secret or not, sort of halfway so, right? You have some roots elsewhere as well, or your family has.
Yes, so actually I'm half German, half Finnish, but I've been living here now for nearly 20 years, so maybe I consider myself a bit more international guy, but I have my Finnish roots.
Yes.
Till the end.
Of course. All right, so we're gonna do basically a mic check right now. So whichever platform you're on, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, you could tell if you hear us okay.
Test 1 2 3. Is this microphone working? All right.
All right, so at least somebody hears something. So the YouTube is actually probably not better quality, and that's just because I suck. I didn't have enough time to do it. YouTube is through my phone right now, and it has this crappy lens that distorts everything. But at least I think you guys can hear us and hopefully see something. And in the future, depending on how these live streams go on the YouTube side, I might see if I can get it working a little better as well. Kiitti Nestori, mic works. Debian, loud and clear. Awesome, guys. Thank you. And once the YouTube live chat stops saying Darude Sandstorm, we can maybe talk with them as well. Oh, but anyway, hi as well, you guys on YouTube. Okay, so I see actually the middle part of the screen on YouTube is not that bad, no. So it's all right.
It's only blurs a bit.
Yeah, it blurs in the, well.
Yeah, the screen, and
yeah.
But doesn't matter.
So if you don't mind, well, I'm gonna put this a little closer to you so they'll hear you better. But I think they'll still, this picks up a little bit as well, so I think we're good. All right, so what we're gonna do, first things first, before I'm showing this screen, we're gonna go and listen to your original first. So I've got, this one is the one that you sent me first.
Yes, that's correct.
And this one is the one that I started playing, and the one that I fell in love with. Now they don't have sound, by the way, because the channels are muted. All right, here goes again. See, that sound I used.
Yes.
That's probably one of the only ones I used from this.
Yeah. Very much basic from the original ones. Yeah.
Yeah. This. Or that's actually two sounds, but anyway. Yeah, I used that and I liked it. It was easy to incorporate. Whenever I DJ remix, I like to create something of my own, but I also like to have something directly from the original, even if it was different.
Yeah.
I used it the same way, but different sort of rhythm, just different spot.
I think it's also for me quite important to recognize the original from a remix, because if it's too different, then it's not so good, I think.
Yeah, true. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Well, and out of the original, of course I used the chords, but the original sounds, I didn't use anything else, but I used this melody coming in a little similarly in the beginning, then it's not there after that anymore. I gotta say, I think our voices are on top of the music, so at least this mic, this is a little louder now because it's closer to me, but it's alright. Your mixing is very good. Master sounds nice, but it's not too slammed. There's a good amount of breathing. What caused me problems or challenges was that you have a weird shuffle. It's not straight 16, but it's not the C. It's maybe B or A or something like it. The shuffle is very small, very small shuffle.
It has
Or
a small
swing.
groove.
Yeah, groove. But first I didn't get it. Like I used some of your stuff and then I used some of the MIDI, and I was like, why does it sound weird? But then obviously. Tomi, jos Max ei olisi niin herrasmies, niin se näyttäisi varmaan keskisormea tästä.
A good friend says that I have the Pauli Hanhinen look in trance music.
Okay. All right. Sound through here anyway, so it's gonna do phasing. Yep. Yeah.
Did you know that their original vocals actually, they're soul vocals?
Well, I mean, in a way you can hear it.
Yeah.
I don't. My son said that it sounds like a big black man. I don't know if the singer is big black man or anything.
It sounds quite.
But they sound. There's a even now. I don't know. You pitch them up, I guess. Down. Okay.
Down.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think
down.
like 2 octaves or something.
Yeah. And so they the vibrato. It's kind of weird because it's slow.
Yeah.
Like. So it's been probably a good bit of tuning / other trickery to make them sound, but it also creates that certain atmosphere on the vocal itself.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So when I got the track, the chords or the vibe, I listen to music with just like feeling, gut feeling or vibe, and then vocals, yes, but I rarely know vocal like words. I just listen to music and how the vocal is against the chords, basically.
Yeah.
So it's part of the harmonic content of the track. So for a good couple of plays when I played it, the only thing I was going, I can feel it, sunshine. It's not because that I don't understand what they're saying, but
Yeah.
but the whole thing was that's why I asked for the parts, because I just fell in love with the chord progression and how the vocal works on it. Everything in the track to me sounded good anyways, but that's the main thing, and that's why. So when I started my own process, let's see if I can flip to, woohoo! So we're in a corner now, and so it depends on people's resolutions and whatnot, but they should be able to follow a little bit what we're doing. So when I got this, this is what I always do when I get a remix thing. Either somebody asks me to do one or I ask for parts. It doesn't matter. Even if I do like a bootleg kind of thing or whatever for my own play, I just lay everything out in an empty project file. There's no bussing, no nothing. It's just an audio edit thing and MIDI. And then I go through the parts. And I think at this point, this is probably the first one. I don't know if I've deleted anything like, but then I'll just go through. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to use that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Might use that. I like that bass sound, but I'm not going to maybe use it like as it is, but maybe I'll sample the one or two bass notes and then I use them in another way or something like that. So here's, for instance, that percussion that I used is just here, this one. And that's dry, and the only thing I did on a track was that in the beginning where there's drums and a little bit of bass or whatever, nothing much, it's actually just this sound, and I did a little bit of bit crushing so that it gets a little bit of high end so it cuts through. And then after the first build up, I doubled it with a similar sound that has a little bit more like upper frequency, some harmonic content, so that it cuts through even when the track is full on. But other than that, this was the one that I used, and there you can actually hear the shuffle really well. I did like this one as well, but it's such a it's integral for your rhythm, but it doesn't work for my rhythm.
Yep.
Mine was more straightforward. Then there was this one. It's part of the vocal. I didn't use particularly this. I think it's there, but actually no. I'm not sure if I used that at all. I don't think so. But then this one. This one I did, and I also looped that, made it sort of part of the instrumentation in a way. And this one I used too. This one, and then, but the first day I was listening to this on loop like a day. It's amazing. I like it a lot. And I'm not kissing anybody's ass. That's not my point. I just feel it. It was really nice.
Well, the vocals have their meaning anyway, so
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And by the way, when I say I don't listen to the vocals, it's just me. With that, I don't take anything away from the vocals or the lyrics.
For me, it's very important that if the tracks have vocals, for me it's important that they tell a story.
Of course.
So I always listen to, in all tracks, I listen to the vocals.
Yeah.
Not only the rhythm, but also the meaning.
Yeah.
Because in the end, like every song, it has its meaning with vocals and harmony and melody and everything.
True.
So it all comes together.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you can even with this, with this vocal, if you would do a different chord progression, you could make it more sad or more happy, or it might be conflicting or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at, like, I make my chord progressions just how my fingers hit the keys, and then I adjust with the mouse and whatnot. But there is a feeling to it. But then I'm not good at, if you told me like, hey, make a happy track now, make a sad track, make a longing track, make somebody's missing. It's not my forte. They just become whatever they become. Then you have the bass. So here you can see this is the beginning where it's going only between C and I guess, or G sharp. Just that, and then again, because you had the shuffle or the swing, whatever we want to call it. By the way, where's this sound coming from? Is it a plug-in or an outboard hardware synth?
No, it's just a plugin from Cubase actually.
Okay.
I think it was.
Because I thought when I was going through it that it wasn't exactly accurate, even not just the swing, and again, but it might be just my ears. But anyway, it was a strange swing, because usually the smallest that I've been using, if I use, it's the I think it's maybe the B, which is like 41 ticks over, and this was like 19 or 20 ticks over. And you use Cubase, so it's a little different system anyway, but that was interesting. Then there's your ARP that comes up. Filter opening, and this one I was going to use. Tried it with a side chain. I ended up I don't think using it at all.
Yeah, it was there actually because I thought the sound was extremely cool.
Okay.
It's some sort of white noise, and it's laid up in the original very well.
Yeah.
So it gave that small little fill.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that loud in your. And then so the rest of these are just your MIDI, and they're here just with a piano sound, so that I've been just checking what they are. And from one of these, for instance, what I did was I just went like this. Well, there are the key pads anyway there, but often I just go like boom, boom, stretch them to whatever amount of bars or parts of a bar they are long, make pads and put a sidechain pump on or whatever. How's that? And you have the bass line there. An ARP kind of thing for the bass. And the key chords. And that's the lead. And then here I had a comparison. So that's basically it. I always do the same thing, and I want to do it like I very often do remixes or my own tracks even starting on top of a project that I worked earlier on that I cleaned up. Like I took everything that I don't want to repeat on something and everything that is very particular to the earlier track, but then I leave what I found drum loops were great or whatever. I leave that, so that's my template for something. And so in this one, I had like a kick drum and a couple of other things, and a bass line sound in my mind. And then just it happened that before I started working on this, the day before I went through a sound bank and I found two good samples from, I think one was from Synthmaster and one was Silent, and it's like earmarked them, and then I brought the couple of things that I picked here to the main project, and I think we can take a look at that. Now, don't save, and let's see what the peeps have to say.
Sounds so more the way.
Puhu suomea. Well, see, peeps, I would love to speak Finnish, and there's nothing wrong about using my own language, except that we're streaming this around the world for people to see. So that's why English is the common language. And let's see. Well, okay, tracker, I don't need that now. 41 peeps there at the moment.
24 up here.
Yeah. All right. Who else is here? America has. I haven't done Twitch streaming in a while, so I don't get too many peeps. The first day, like the first time I stream of the week or the month, but then when I do a couple of in a row, then it gets higher. But this seems to be pretty active. YouTube, that's awesome. Thanks guys for joining. And it seems that you all see what we see, which is great. So, okay, let's do a search. I'm going between my laptop on the road and the desktop here, so sometimes files might
It
go
mixes up, yeah.
Yeah, go missing, but it doesn't matter. The track is done. Okay, so there we have it. All right. So this is my sort of final mix of the track, and because I get often questions about my process and what I do, like tricks and whatnot, and I don't know if I'm the best person to teach or if mine are big tricks or anything. But what I have, this is actually, when I started the project, it looked very much like this as well, but it didn't have any content. So my templates have, now that when Logic had buses before as well, but now it has sort of these you can create track stacks, they're called now, and that automatically buses it or makes an aux.
Okay.
And so I used to do that. My whole arrangement was here, and I only had a bus if I needed bus automation, like on drums or, and I did gather them to mix bus. But now, so these are like folders or whatever stacks you want to call them, and those green are my effects, for instance.
Okay.
But what I do like now is that after I'm done with the track, it usually over the course of the track ends up being browns are basses and drums are blue and vocals yellow, for me that is, and effects. And this is a good
so you can nowadays hide all the parts into those folders.
yes, and this is my overall view. And
I haven't seen this version of Logic yet. I stopped using it 2 years ago.
yeah, and I really love this. It's a workflow thing. I mean, there's a key command to open all of these too, but I'm just idiot and pressing all the triangles. But anyway, so that's my whole arrangement. I've hidden some stuff that I don't need here, probably a couple of reference tracks and something that I've bounced to audio, but yeah, so all these below here, they are synth, bass, drums, and I have a bass drum separately. Because I have the breakbeat that doesn't exist anywhere else, and I actually treated it a little differently. I had a separate breakbeat bus or aux or mixed bus, whatever you want to call it, snares and vocals. Snares actually this time, yeah, sometimes I have snares in the loops or drums bus, but it's kind of depends on the track. But this is very cool because now, say you want to only work on, I don't know, whatever, the drums. It's easy, you see them easy, and then you can also treat that aux. And you could do it earlier before, but it wasn't as visually easy. And now, say, so
that's very handy.
Soloing that and starting with my drums only. There is the kick, but, and that's your sound. A little bit of shaker action. So the only thing I said I used were vocals. I did use them pretty much as is, except that then I created a little bit of a new vocal bit, Be My Sunshine. Which,
or I thought it was Baby Sunshine.
no,
But
it,
I really loved it. That's the thing what I love the most, actually, that you experimented with the vocal.
it comes from, check here. Be my, because it be mine.
Yeah.
Be baby, be mine. But I just use be my sunshine. I don't know if, and but so that's the be my, be, be. I did a separate track for the vocal. It's exactly the same. I EQ'd your thing a little bit. I pushed up a little bit of mids and took out a little bit of like some rumble or whatever, but it didn't need much because you had mixed it already. And I used, this track is exactly the same, except that I added sound shifter. So here when it builds, it pitches up. And then there's also a high cut vocal or EQ that cuts towards the end, and then there's also reverb that goes from dry to, I don't know, 75% wet, so that becomes kind of a wash. Other than that, I didn't really do anything else to the vocal. Just
you didn't have need to do, because I think that's the most significant signature from your remix.
Yeah, yeah.
Vocal wise, definitely, because it was something unique and you made a new part of it.
Yeah.
Improved it basically.
So here I used those. And this was a rhythmic thing that I don't know if anybody else does this, but so here so I manually made it pump. That's just a fade in.
That's quite brilliant.
It does have yeah. But then also these are just the same copy of this region. But Logic has this. It's actually quite cumbersome. But look at this again, and now 6, 3. So I just made it in steps of 3 go down.
Yeah,
from here. So it's basically like a fading out delay.
Yeah.
But because I tried to do it with delay, and that would have required more automation. And I have a thing about automation. Like, I love it, but I hate too much automation because it can get really confusing, even if it's your own project.
Yeah.
And then sometimes Logic, when you move stuff around, it messes up the automation. And then you're like, why is this sounding like this? And then you have to go and manually fix it. So I often do just like, it's actually very handy to know. So if you have a regular delay going, say, 4ths or 8ths, whatever, and you have 50% wetness, or 50%, yeah, like your dry is full, but then you're 50% wet. So then basically it goes, well, depends on some other stuff too, but 6 dBs every delay is, for instance, quieter. So then you can do stuff like this, just kind of guessing. I usually go 3 or 6 dBs at a time, and Logic can do plus or minus 30. So you can quite easily do just quite nice and gradual, and it's just I guess an old school way of doing it, because it's just audio editing it down in a way. I don't know what else. I don't think I did anything strange. This is just using that. And so here you helped me really tremendously, because I started using that sound or had it in there. I selected it, but then you told me in an email or the messaging that
Mm.
you like the melody that starts here,
Yeah.
but that comes from that bit. See, because it has a little similarity to an old classic track that.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
it starts, if you put that in on top of it, that
Yeah.
comes from the vocal bit.
Okay, because like the
Look.
melody which I talked about,
Mhm.
like, I don't know if you this sounds like Need to Feel Love, you know.
Okay. But that
Yeah.
that comes from your vocal bit. Like, yeah.
But remember me from the Unplugged classic.
Yeah. So I hear things and then it's like often I hear things that are not there, which doesn't mean I'm crazy, but musically.
Oh, well, it was brilliant.
That works nicely. And then what else? So yeah, I told you that I heard this is Synthmaster. I haven't used Synthmaster too much, but I'm thinking you know Ville Lope
Yep.
as well. Ville is a Synthmaster fanatic. I got Synthmaster because, and of course his partner in crime Kantola as well. And when I worked with them on a couple of my tracks on my earlier album, I got Synthmaster. Then one because they were raving about it, but then also because they used it on a couple of things. I needed to have it so that I could do the same stuff
Yeah.
and final produce the tracks that we started producing together. But it has a lot of cool 303 imitating sounds, which this is one of them. And it doesn't really sound like a 303, but it's a square square bass line, and this was one that I just figured out like a day before, came across. I tweaked this a little bit, but not much. It's basically a Synthmaster preset.
Yeah. But Synthmaster is a very good synth.
Yeah.
I use it almost on every single of my tracks, and well, it's a cheap plugin as well.
Yeah.
I think you can get it with a student discount for 30 quid or something.
Yes, and then you can buy those additional banks if you want
Yeah.
afterward. And so, and very simply, shaper box and sidechain bassline. I used shaper box earlier, volume shaper a lot, but mainly for the just regular sidechain ducking. But I like that because you can use it on 3 bands.
Yeah.
So you can duck the bass out all the way. If you have a thick lead, you don't want fully EQ out, you can make that duck under the bass drum, but you can still have it full frequency between or whatever. Cool stuff. But then the shaper box, I don't know if do you have this? Have you tried it?
I have the volume shaper one.
Yeah, but this one is like their bundle, and what's cool about this is that you can do filter time like you can do glitches and whatever, like repeats and pan, and all are controlled with similar like an LFO type of, or like an envelope thing. So it is it's very handy for a lot of weird stuff too.
Yeah, and it's quite easy to use, and it has quite
Yeah.
alright presets, at least for the volume shaper.
Yeah. That's one bass. That's another one. A little bit of sub under there. A little bit of rhythm basically going with this. And then mine, which you don't really hear. And I think it opens a little bit. No, hold on a second. Yeah, no, it's just there for... This is something that I've basically done initially with Jaakko around 99 or 2000. This is my very basic Darude ARP, so to say. And I think I chose not to do anything with this because, hold on, that's the wrong. Could open it up a little bit. I think I left it, I'll put it there just to have like something with that.
It has a quite heavy beat across the weight.
Yeah. But I think it's basically there just for a tiny bit of width or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've also used center, wave center, which I've taken center out 6 dBs and added high, so it just makes it a little wider. So it is headroom wise and whatever wise, it doesn't really do much, but it adds a little bit of, so you only basically hear it when you need it. And now actually it's even now more open than it was. Now let's go here and see what people are saying.
Oh, thanks Cyrus for sharing my SoundCloud, Twitter and everything.
Yes. Hey Cyrus, what's going on, man? Good to see you again. He's often here.
Okay.
He somehow sneakily finds me, but I thank him for that. We have Lady Dora is a regular. Mundane name is a regular. Hi guys. I've seen Lost Edge before. Ilpo Koira, moi moi. And then we're gonna go. We can go actually, let's do this and then mute it right away. A good bunch of people who I recognize here as well. And how's YouTube doing? Cool. All right, so not to put you on a spot or anything, but so what did you what do you use for drums normally? Where did the bass drum come for your original mix? The samples or synth? Do you generate stuff yourself?
Yeah, well I do the bass line, I use synth for it.
Yeah.
The drums and everything, I basically take all them from sound banks.
Yeah.
Engines, and then I have a hydrogen sample pack which has like 12,000 samples and everything. So that's the most way I built. I don't use much, don't use samplers or anything.
Okay.
Like that.
A question that I've been asked recently quite a lot is, do you tune your kicks to do you listen to it by ear against the track, or do you tune it like, hey, this sounds like a C and I'm gonna make it C or whatever?
I do it with my like hearing.
By ear.
If somebody asks me sometimes, okay, is it now in C or D or something, then sometimes I even say I don't quite know.
Yeah.
I just do it with the hearing, and then sometimes it's right, and then sometimes if I play it to someone as a test track, they say you need to tune your kick down or something.
Yeah, Kimmo is accurate about that.
Yeah.
Many
people are quite accurate about it.
I tune my kicks, but you can't tune a kick with really like a tuner app or anything like that, because they always have a sloping, well, not always, but often have a sloping whatever frequency envelope basically. So it's hard to, you can't find like especially dance music kicks are short and they go down. But I often when I listen to a track or when I listen to a kick, I let it play, and then on one channel I have a pad, and I listen to the track, and I basically just, the kick, and then I just basically go whatever I hear.
Yeah.
I mean, you start hearing a note if you listen to a kick long enough, and then I just try to find what note it is. And I also sometimes, or actually often, try not to look at the keyboard. So I'm just like not biased. I'm just going like, okay, now I found like a root, and then a chord, and then okay. So if I try to do an E minor track and I'm at, I don't know, halfway away, then that kick is probably not going to work, because you know, tuning it more than 1 or 2 up or down is not going to make the kick is not going to sound good at that. But then of course there is that you could use the like the 5th, for instance. So if you're doing, well, yours was C, so you could use maybe like a G kick perhaps. Sometimes that works, but it depends all on how the whatever else is going on the track. So I think it's quite important, but then at the same time there's no, like, a lot of times people ask me, how do I tune my kicks, like what's the easy way? But there's really no, it's hard because it's such a short, and also it's hard to tell accurate tuning of a thing that is like 100 or 150 or whatever and below, and slopes down, so you can't really.
Sometimes, for example, now I usually, well, if I start a track, I usually start doing the drums first.
Yes.
And then after it, I create a melody.
Yeah, and then it automatically.
Yeah, and then automatically, if I hear it doesn't fit, for example, actually yesterday when I was making my new tune, which is still in progress, so I noticed then, okay, now I maybe should change or tune the kick, because it didn't, then in the end it didn't fit melody or something. Yeah.
But that's also, I mean, a lot of times you don't have the problem of the kick fitting, because if you do start from drums, then you automatically create something that fits the kick.
Yeah.
Obviously then it can be 50% plus or minus off, but anyway. And then there are a million of tracks that nobody cared or knew to care or whatever, and they still made number ones or became hits and whatnot.
And somebody says at some point that it's breaking the rules and everything, and it's cool, and it gives the good vibe to a track or something if everything's not in key or something. So
exactly. All right, so in my synths I used a Nexus, whatever, Hollywood something called patch for. And this is something that I thought of a little while. See when the chord changes? The slow release, and it sort of almost clashes because it's so, but then when I took the release off, so it changed almost immediately, then it didn't sound good. Like, and it didn't bring the like vibe or whatever. And then here is my silent pad, and this is pretty much has been in every track since my beginnings. Let's do this. Familiar? Where am I? Sorry, that's oma biisi. So that's my interpretation of the Sandstone pad that is actually originally from that JP8080, but this is a pad that lends itself to whatever, and again I used it in this one as well. A little lower. We got these sort of as a pair. One's pitched, panned a little bit that way, one the other way. They could have been actually.
It's a quite cool sound, actually.
This one, I have to give props to my buddy Abba, who made Beautiful Alien with me. This is from one of our projects, but I added this one just to counter it. And then there are different sounds make it quite stereo, even though they're not even that wide from each other. It works quite nicely. And then there's a little bit of bend in the, or glide in the Star Child sample or sound here, that is. So it's not a, no, hold on, see, which one? Oh, it's the ice pad that makes sense. Alright, that's your ARP is here. And that's it, sort of. You can go through those, a little bit of those drums still if These are, actually they're in this project already. People also often ask where I get my drums, so I can see, what is that again, there. Okay.
And it's hidden.
Yeah, it is not, but I don't know why it doesn't. Okay, let's try that again. No. Okay. There. So, yeah, I've got a million of these. Yep. I think they just changed their name. What about? It was What About question mark production, and I've got about a million of these kits, and they have really good, like for me, sort of vengeance comparing drum loops, but they are very directly, very simply, at the same time bad for music creation, because, and I'm not saying this to diss them, but they make templates that sound like Oliver Heldens, sound like whoever, sound like Hartwell, this and that, and you could literally take one of those templates and bounce it, and you've got your 128 or 126 big room or deep house or whatever track, and that takes all the creativity out of it. But at the same time, their bass lines, sounds, both samples and then they do presets, they are amazing. There's a lot of effect stuff, and it's like snare rolls. I think snares from on this track, for instance, they make these. Let's just see if that is one of them. I think, yeah, I think that was one of theirs. So I needed to edit that a little bit. Anyway, so they make these, not just one single drum sound, but they make, you know, you could have that snare and a couple of swoops and swooshes and whatnot, and they make life a lot easier. But also, I wouldn't sort of dare to put my name on something that I just took from their thing. Yeah,
basically, if you take everything from there, it sounds amazing, but everybody uses them.
Yeah, and the good thing about that is that their templates are pre-mixed, basically. So you literally bounce it out and it will sound okay, at least, or great. But the other side of it is that then it also, for some people, they think that that's making music, just taking something that somebody pre-made. So I use quite a lot of bits and pieces here, like I've got here, actually those are two different loops treated with a couple of different things and put together. Sounds nice to me, but then again, if you listen to the track, there's nothing in this whole thing that screams their sound pack or anything like that. And I think for that reason, a lot of times people also ask me, like, what do you think about using samples? It's totally fine. Before sort of our electronic dance music, house and techno, trance, whatever, million things you have, there was hip-hop that was sampling. You know, house DJs started around that time as well. And a lot of good music would have not been made if it wasn't for sampling. But it's not the point that you just get everything remade in somewhere. There needs to be creativity there as well.
There seems to be like their own signature.
Yeah, yeah.
At least a bit of fine-tuning.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, obviously the sample kits and packs and templates, they are royalty free after you bought them to use. But then just touching sampling a little bit, like a lot of people lack the respect of the original. There's some people that don't even think about crediting them or paying originals. And internet obviously is a place where that can easily happen when you are not really trying to gain much out of it other than just putting mashups out and whatnot. And it's an easy excuse to say like, well, I'm not making money out of it, but you're still sort of using somebody's stuff, you know, if it is already released track and copyrighted. All right. One thing that I think is worth mentioning, these headphones, these are V-Moda M100s, and no, I don't get paid by them to say this, but I made this track 4 or 5 sessions with the headphones only. Then I came here home and did my final mix, which was just like 1 session. I've, in the last 2 or 3 years, learned to mix with these, and I trust them quite well. What I do use though is I used a different gadget earlier, but now I'm using Waves NX, and this is like headphone or like monitor simulator. The problem with headphones is that you hear isolated left and right channel, and then that creates sort of wrong or different stereo image, and the center sounds are usually kicks and vocals, for instance, you mix too low because you hear them too well with the headphones.
Yeah.
So like, for me, it's 3 dB difference. If I just mix with headphones and I bounce it and I go play somewhere, I'm like, where's my vocal, or where's my lead, or where's my kick? And when I do it with this, it basically compensates for that, and it also does sort of basic cross bleeding. So you don't only hear left channel in your left ear and right in your right, but they kind of cross bleed like you hear in normal life.
Yeah.
This is also way much more, because you can the Waves, this NX plugin has a head tracking system where if you use your laptop, for instance, where you have the camera, it tracks your head, and you can turn your head and you can hear the difference like you would hear in a room.
Really?
Yes. Or you can have a camera on here. This screen doesn't have a camera, or you can have a Bluetooth gadget that is attached, and then that has a gyro, and then it measures your movement. So I actually don't like it. I've tried it because I like my fixed stereo field like that, and that's that, and then I mix it. I have just tiny bit of room ambience, and mimicking what I hear here, like about a 60-degree difference with my speakers and whatnot. There's also like your head circumference and whatever, and actually how much, how long it is from ear to ear and whatnot. Specific templates or your own specific measurements if you want to. And it helps. You know, you're in an airplane or hotel or wherever that you don't have access to speakers. You can actually trust your mixes quite a lot more with that. But these are really good, and they're by no means flat.
I have the same headphones, or the I think 3 old versions, CrossFit M something. Yeah. But I use the same ones for DJing, and
these are a little better sound-wise, but there's not bigger difference. They're a little better because I also with those I have a pair here, I think. With these are the ones that don't fold. These I wouldn't use for DJing. I still, when I first got these, I still used my Pioneer 2000s then for DJing. But then when I got those, I did quite a lot of A-Bing, and I decided to go with those because they have better bass. For me, that is. Obviously, everything is subjective. Or
I think you get used to everything.
Yes, absolutely. But for me, it was crisper mids and highs, hands down. Then those Pioneers would wear the flagship model then. And the other couple of things that are cool is that these hinges are metal.
Yeah, that's the thing why I also bought them.
Last quite well, and also if you're vain like I am, or if you try to brand market, you can get 3D printed or laser engraved plates for these where you can have your logos and whatnot. And also they're in a nice company. Nobody else can have the Rude ones because they don't sell them to other copyrighted stuff or trademark stuff to other people. So it's awesome. What else? And if you feel sort of laid back, wind blowing, cool vibe when you listen to this, it's because I, for you, my man, locked myself into a hotel room in Hawaii.
Yeah.
For 2 days.
Kind of appreciate that.
Working on that.
I wouldn't lock myself down in Hawaii for 2 days.
Well, I had actually 4 days sort of off, so I had to work on this, or wanted to work on this, but I got to go surfing one of those days and ziplining one of the days, so it's all good. Let's see what... Okay, who's the second guy? This guy right here, or this one? I'm Darude. This is Max Millian. And he's the guy who made the original track called You Are The One that I remixed a couple of weeks ago, and the track is coming out on Beatport on 27th.
Yeah, and Spotify as well.
Spotify as well, okay. Finn Fighter, yeah, you got the answer. Who's the beard guy? And Volven Dukin is also a regular. Hi, man. What else?
Yeah, seems Russia is coming in.
Yeah.
A bit late.
Okay, so guy's name is Allahu Akbar. Almost 2,000k and 19 viewers. That might be because this is my first time ever doing an actual live stream on YouTube. So I'm mostly streaming on Facebook and Twitch, and now I'm just checking this out, and if this goes well, and yes,
Yeah.
You're correct, my subscribers numbers are quite high compared to the viewership right now, but I also didn't promote this, and we'll see if this goes well. Maybe I'll start using Max Millian is finished, yes. Maybe I'll start using YouTube as well. And obviously YouTube would be nice because I have that subscriber numbers, but then again, like he said, not all of them are active at all because YouTube is the platform where I've most had the what song?
Yeah.
Darude, Dankstorm, all different variations of that. So Kalevi, en ole Salosta. Alun perin. Olen Hinnerjoelta, and Hinnerjoki is in well, what's happening? Hinnerjoki is in
I think it's in Euro nowadays.
yeah, it's in Eura, I guess. Yeah. Did this die or what happened here? No, it's still alive. Yeah, so I've lived in Salo area now for 3 years. Okay, so Lost Edge. If you spell my name correctly, then I'll answer. Oh, okay. If you beatbox a tune, how many Euro cash stacks do I need to throw at you to make a song out of it? Quite a lot. I don't know. Depends on the song. If I like it, it might be very, very, very cheap. I might pay you if it's very cheap or if it's very good. Monday name, Twitch stream is still the best stream, at least quality wise. No, you guys are good. Okay. So do we have anything more smart to say? Oh boy, this is what we have to say.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay guys, so one thing that I am going to do right now then, because you're here, how do I, yeah, actually can you turn down all the way down, that one? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That needs a little bit of a, so boys and girls, ladies and gents, I played in Kansas City a while ago a festival called Dance Festopia, and that was right after Hurricane Harvey had hit Houston and other Texas areas, and well, wherever it was down there. And so I figured I'll try and do something with it or about that. And I have a little bit of a video that we've made, and then I am going to release the track that we made that night in Kansas City, and I'm going to donate all the proceeds, 100% of them, to Houston Food Bank. And this is the video we made. I'm going to just play it. Let's see. I'm going to listen to the...
Hours after Hurricane Harvey stormed ashore, the storm still dumping heavy rain as it lingers over the state.
When it hit Texas on Friday, it was the worst storm in 50 years, and its devastating winds have caused flooding and widespread damage. The National Weather Service is warning residents this is a marathon and not a sprint, and that days of danger from flooding remain ahead.
Alright, this is a little doom and gloom, but it was bad. So that was a good night. That was an amazing festival, and the crowd was very, very loud and took part in that. There were a couple of people from Houston area. I got to borrow the Texas flag, held it up, and this track right now, it's on Bandcamp. I believe it's Darude. Hold on, what is the actual address? We can go there, so we can see Darude.bandcamp.com. You can buy it, or you can pay what you want. Name your price. You can actually leave 0 in it as well. But if you want to support, the proceeds are going to go 100% to Houston Food Bank. And what we're going to do now, I just actually today put it online, and we're going to push it through my promo people to a couple of the news outlets and stuff like that. Yeah. See if anything takes. If not, then at least I tried. If some posted and stuff, that's going to be cool. And I don't know what people think of the track, but the track has a story. I've made that track initially around 2001. It's called We Love Bass Drum initially. Yeah. I think you've seen it somewhere.
Yep.
And I actually did it with hardware originally, the live sampling and stuff. But these days I do it with Ableton Live. And my sets are not live sets, but I can do a little bit of live stuff here and there, especially with Ableton now. And very few gadgets. And this was about, I don't know, 5,000, 7,000 people. I don't know how many were in a really nice festival, and they were loud. It was very good, and luckily I got a really good recording of it and just mixed it in. I also used a little bit of recording from last January when I played in Houston, and they ate it up there, but little did they know that they're going to be hit with a nasty hurricane. Yeah. So what's going to be cool actually this coming week, and I'm going to be in Houston at Stereo Live where I last played as well, and obviously they've been hit with a really nasty thing, but they're Houston strong, I've heard, and stuff like this, I don't know how much this is gonna yield, but who else? There's a lot of artists are pitching in, and that's really
well,
cool.
I'm gonna do my part when I get home, so
Yeah, it's
I will share it for you and definitely donate my part as well.
Yes.
Because
And
it's
actually-
always for a good cause.
and actually that's a really, really good point. Anyone watching the stream right now, I'm really by no means saying that you need to buy the track. It's there for your free download if you want to. But if you can, pitch in, whether it's $1, whether it's 50 cents, whatever it is, I don't care. Or just go and share it. Share it to everybody and see if there's a like-minded person with you, but who would like to put in
sharing is caring.
Yes, sharing is caring. So that's the beauty of internet. And like there's Blau. I actually don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. The 3LAU.
Yeah. I think it's free Lao.
Free Lau.
I
Might
don't
be.
know. No,
I don't
no
know.
idea.
I'm making myself sound silly here, but
Yeah.
what they are doing, his label is all charity stuff, and they've done a lot of stuff like this, and then pretty much everywhere all around the world people are pitching in to various causes. And like I'm saying in this here, actually, if this is a thing that you don't feel like contributing to, it's all good, because there are a lot of stuff that people have things going wrong. Or charitynavigator.org is a really cool site where you can see what charities are going on, but not only that, they rate them by how legit they are, basically.
Yeah.
What percent of the proceeds actually end up in, and they, I guess, do like an ongoing
Investigation.
yeah, research into what's going on. So that's apparently, I don't know too much of all of this stuff, but I looked into it when we were working on this. So if you guys want to check it out, that's the info is there on darude.bandcamp.com, and at the moment this is the only track I have on Bandcamp, so you'll find it there. Let's see what. Thanks, Nick. Nick Wax is a name Max here should remember. Nick is from Seattle area. I've known him for years and years and years and years, and he's a good friend. He's a music guy himself, and he's frequenting on my streams, and every time I'm in Seattle, pretty much we see each other and talk tech and life sometimes as well.
I'd love to visit Seattle one day. I've seen many videos and films from there, and it's a very beautiful city.
It is, absolutely.
But yeah, I haven't made it to the States yet.
Thank
Maybe
you.
one day.
Thank you, Cyrus, once again. All right. Nigel 1337, this is live, and I do read chat every once in a while, but I have 3 chats going on, and I'm talking to a person next to me, so I'm not checking out all the chat at all times. So what is your question? Shoot right now. And Samuel, will I perform in Sweden this or next year? I don't think this year anymore. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm actually calming my gigging down in a couple of weeks, and then starting again early next year, but sort of taking the first half of the year a little easier. I did a lot last year and this year, so time to make some music.
And take time for your family.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that's
a very important factor, which
it is, and
I hope no one ever forgets.
It
take
is
time for the family or close ones.
And the thing is that you're absolutely correct to correct me with that or say that, but I must sort of defend myself here. For me, being home means making music, but it's not away from the family time, because when I am home, and so it's a good place for me to be, especially now. My son is 8 and he goes to school every day, and that gives me a guilt-free gap to work on music. It's not out of basically his time and my time with him. And my wife is also working daytime, so I basically have 2 to 6 hours a day of, depends on, so that's family time is also music time for me. And then I'm sort of 9 to 5 dad. I'm working, and my son comes home from school 2 in the afternoon or so, quick lunch with him. Often he wants to go with his friends, so I'm still not tied to him for the next hour or two. Then we have like hockey practice or whatnot. So it works really well like that. But you are absolutely right. We're actually talking with a couple of people about doing sort of a daddy DJ kind of feature on or like a documentary, because it's a big thing. A lot of the A-list DJs actually have families, and it's incredible. I tour a decent amount. It's going to be like 70, 75 gigs this year. Last year was maybe 60. The year before was 77, I think, was the correct number. But there are guys who tour 150 gigs and who have families. And then there's like Steve Aoki, who tours like 1,000 gigs a year. Maybe not exactly, but that I know of, he doesn't have that kind of like kids and a girlfriend. I don't know, but I mean, that man's a machine.
Yeah. But still, I think this job is one of the hardest jobs in the world to combine a family with.
Yes, and the thing is that I would never ever bitch and whine about my job being hard, because I chose to do it. And oh, actually, initially I didn't choose; it chose me. But when things started going well and whatnot, I've done this for a good while now. I choose to keep on doing it, and I have an amazing wife who supports me, and allows me, the support allows me to keep on doing this. But it is sometimes a bit tiring, hopping time zones, and like this weekend is going to be idiotic, really.
I think you're flying somewhere.
I'm
this
flying to Houston,
to Houston
to do one gig, and then I'll fly back. My flight out is like, my airport pickup was sometime before 5 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I'll basically go to go in the afternoon, dinner. We'll do a sound check thing, actually with fans.
Oh, that's nice.
And we're going to do a live sound check thing.
Yeah, you've been doing those quite recently.
Yes, but now we're going to do a meet and greet at the same time. So we're going to bring fans, a couple of contest winners there, and that's going to be cool. And so do that. I think dinner actually afterwards, then to the club, play, close, maybe a glass of champagne, back to the hotel, basically wash up, almost directly jump back in a car and fly back to Finland, just for one gig.
That's a quite longer gig, like journey that I have. I'm just traveling to Oulu and back this week.
But you know what?
Nothing compared.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're driving, right? Or taking a train?
I'm taking a bus, then a car, and then train back.
Yes, but so you're actually your travel is not. You're still traveling 8-10 hours maybe.
Yeah. First to Jyväskylä on Friday, then to Oulu, and then actually I took the morning. I'm taking the morning train at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday to get home in the afternoon, because I don't want to waste the whole Sunday day.
Yeah.
As for traveling.
That's why I'm leaving almost right after the gig, so I'll be here early Monday. So I'll still have Monday afternoon and evening with and I'll be like with the one with the matches in my eyes, so that I'll stay up till it's bedtime on Monday evening. Finn Fighter is asking, do I like the Serum plugin? Absolutely, I love Serum, and to me, Steve Duda is the dude. He's amazing with coding and or user interface, ideas, mentality, and that plugin. Today, if I bought one plugin, I'd probably buy Serum, because you can do sort of virtual analog type of sounds with it if you want to. It has great filters. You can do FM sound kind of with it. You can do wavetable stuff. It's all in one kind of thing. And it has a lot of cool presets too, by a lot of even people with pretty big names. And he's got good connections all around. So that plugin is awesome. All right. Can you explain the arrangement process, how to build out a track horizontally? So, all right, if I understood you correctly, or even if not, I'll tell you what I usually do. And I'll just take this kind of part here. This is not maybe the... But I always say, for lack of better explanation, my tracks are sort of Lego blocks that fit together. And for me, the traditional way of making stuff is initially, if I compose something, these days I might actually have melodies or chords before. But earlier on especially, I always started with drums. It would be a kick drum and a loop or two, and then I'd build on those loops. And today, for instance, I forgot to say, like when I have those drum sample pack loops and stuff, my best way of creating something original but good sounding is I take like 8 loops and then I cut them into like 16ths, and then I usually have 2 or 3 loops in a track. But so I have 8 loops of which I compile, like I throw claps out of one and I take claps in, but it's just audio editing basically. Yeah. And then I might, you know, take hi-hats from the third one, so it sounds like this sample pack quality processed that I'm after, but it's not like any exact loop that I've just taken one loop from somewhere. And then of course that opens the possibility of, you know, whatever, adding extra percussion here and there, either in the same loop or obviously layering. But so I always then build this way first. So then I would go, let's just say I have the kick and a couple of loops. Obviously it's too much for me to right now start building, and nice. I don't know why Logic sometimes does that. When you solo stuff, sometimes it starts CPU peaking. Yeah. And I mean, my computer's old, but we're still literally going halfway. And but if one channel peaks or chokes, then the whole thing
peaks.
Yeah. So then I add things. Often at this point I might have a bass line already, or part of a bass line going as well, that you can with that. And this could be 5 minutes or 5 hours, and I mean, I'm sure you know that. It could be, you're just like digging a thing and you're building it in your head at least as much, half the, you know, the same time. Then you're doing something, and then like an hour or 5 later, the circle kind of closes and oh, now we're there. And I was panicking at some point, or not panicking, but pissed off at myself not being quick. Like I would be like, oh, like by this time I should already have like blah blah blah. But then these days, if I listen to this for a day and I don't get anything else done, then
it's a dead end.
Yeah, but then maybe tomorrow, like all of a sudden I come up with 7 things and then it's there. So I forgive myself if I didn't get something done that one day. And this is all just... I bring in like this clap is not really a clap, it's just, it is a clap but it's quiet, but then I bring in the actual thing that has a snap, and then I bring in, well, this is a loop, but also often single hi-hats that I've EQ'd quite sharp, and then I can push those, so the loop is there, the kick is there, but then I can bring like the sharpness or crispness of the whole thing up with single, like really crisp 909 kind of hi-hat or whatever it is, to add this kind of maybe, yeah, like sharpness or sort of attacky stuff to it.
Yeah.
But
I usually spend a lot of time building those drums. For me, I don't use much loops myself. I have just used those one shots, and then I combine them, and then it takes me maybe an hour to find a correct hi-hat or snare sometimes, because loops are loops, but then if you build something from scratch, for example for You Are the One and so on, they're all think there's maybe one loop,
Okay.
but then the rest is just combined of
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. For me, I'm better at that these days, but earlier on, I learned to use loops more,
Yeah.
or I turned to them easier because there's a clear difference very often in your own drum programming. Even though you have great single drum hits, all of them, but then the loops are often already compressed, maybe limited, maybe EQ'd, and they sound so quick better.
Yeah.
And so when now I know better, and I would, for instance, do a drum bus, I would squash them together a little bit. I would EQ them a certain way or whatever to get that processed sound, for instance. And but I'm still sort of leaning into doing the foundation first, that somehow grooves or rolls or whatever it does for me, and then and usually I do need a sharp clap or something like that, then I'll just add that on top. And sometimes I even do, here I have actually the claps are in the same bus, but sometimes I have a clap bus separately, and sometimes I even might do like a 2 dB or something duck in the other drum or the loops bus when the clap hits, so I can actually get the attacky clap on top. Or sometimes I might EQ the loops just like a, I don't know, 1 or 2 dB shelf above whatever, 7 or 8K, to make it a little duller so that the crisp hats, the single hits, come through better, for instance. Yes, but then you still have the thing in the background going, whatever it's doing. And so this track, obviously I had Max's chords, melodies, well, yeah.
A little bit of percussion.
Yeah, a little bit of percussion, and then I had the vocal, which is, to me, well, the chords and the vocals were the main thing. So I didn't have to compose pretty much anything for this. I basically, whatever I added was done on top of your composition. So just, so then I had two things, and I knew that I'm gonna make an extended mix. So initially, this was my, let's just do that. This was what I had initially, and that was my foundation. Then I knew from another track, this is actually, I don't know if you've heard the Ronnie Rex remix that I did.
Yeah, Sticky Fingers.
So these are basically from that. I did change them a little bit, but that sort of just a regular pumping sound. They're actually quite loud in there, but they, to me, this is the bass line that you hear now, and those are the ones that just add the pumping texture more. And so this is what I had first, and then I brought in those, and the Ronnie's thing had the same pumping, but it had more notes. It had more of a rhythm going in this, even though it's pumping the same way. And so now we have a monotonous thing that is tickling me in the right places, right? So, because he was asking how do I go about an arrangement, or so, but I usually, it's not usually just one bar, but it's maybe 4 or 8 bars, depends on, but now we have the chorus chords here already, so that's why I made it 1 bar. And then when I now know your chords, I would just go in and make this a little longer, do the bass line notation, either play stuff in, or I would just maybe, in your case, because I have your MIDI, I would just simply take your MIDI. These are just single notes. That's like it's an arpeggiated or sequence thing that is within Synthmaster, so I don't have to do much to that rhythm thing there. And just make like root note bass line out of it. And this actually was really easy to, I didn't even do too much. Very often I do like like a little bit of a flip either up or down in the end of a
4/4/8.
Yeah. But here I didn't even do that too much. I don't know if I have it. No. But like in the end of this I have that little lift. but sometimes it's just like a one note lift or whatever to throw it in a next chord. But so then I'll just pile things up, and eventually, or initially, I only had the 8 or 16, and then I just copy and paste 8 or 16 throughout 5 or 6 minutes.
And add something always.
Yeah.
Every eighth.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
So the
And
track progresses.
Yes, and now when you look at this here, I mean, we can play it from the get-go, and I can talk through. So we have a kick, a little loop, and his, and after 8 bars, like he just said, a little bit of swoosh, bang, and this one here is just a shaker kind of thing.
30 seconds baseline.
Yeah. And at this point, I try to avoid anything too melodic. I try to keep it in basically monotonous, one chord, one bass note, because I personally still want to mix longer. Like this is usually melodic stuff starts even in the beginning these days. A lot of people have like 30 seconds days. And so depends on how you want to do it, but I would either would have changed basses there, or this vocal thing there, you could only also just do it there, like drop it to this breakdown. And this is the first time where your full chords come in. And because I like this, the Hollywood sound so much, I didn't start the vocal right away. I do there. And our friend Kimmo, K-System, he's these days all about stuff being effective and condensed. And I know that, for instance, he thought that I should go straight to the vocal there. That's just an extra, whatever, 15 seconds. But I don't know, it works really well out in a club, so. Little trick here.
Yeah, so you get it loud. Or you take 2 dB down at the breakdown.
Yeah. It's not always 2 dBs, but something, usually. And because of that, that last vocal bit is actually 2 dB louder, because this is still 2 dB down. But so then this starting vocal sounds as loud as this. Otherwise there would be a difference, like in the impact of the vocal. Jami Järvinen, kiitos, thank you. Okay, Pin Fighter. I don't use any analog gear myself in mastering. Okay, stereo field, let's do that. It's very simple, the breakbeat. It's 2 or 3 loops that I combined, and I like it. I mean, I'm in love with it myself. I listen to that a long time.
I really enjoy it because it's.
I don't know why, and I'm not. Again, when I say that I'm in love with something, I'm not saying that I'm great, but that's part of my process here. I love this shit. I just like tinkering. Like a lot of people think that you know, whatever kind of music you do, and if you're commercially successful, you make it because you want money. Dude, I would be here tinkering EQs and filters and kick drums and whatnot, whether I made money or not. I sincerely, yeah, I get my kicks out of, it's just so amazing. Here, I'm gonna stop. There's just I don't know, because sometimes people ask me, sometimes they don't, and I don't always know what to tell them. But for instance, here, my kicks here are just audio, and they go double time and then quadruple time. But then there's a filter that
small filtering out.
It's actually a shelf that filters out the kick so that. Now, makes it a little thinner so that in the next chorus part, when it kicks in, it sounds a little bigger again. And the new part that the melody comes in, some drum loops come in. These came in there. And some of those actually were in my track Coming Home on my earlier album. And then I had the dilemma of if I wanted to do an actual like break, mixing out break, but then I felt that it had so much nice energy, and then just dropping all the synths out, having the bass line, it still rolls really nicely.
Yeah.
And so
like an outro before
yeah, exactly. And then just like leaving it up to the DJ to decide whether you mix out already there, right when stuff ends, and you have a key matching track that just fits right in, or maybe there. And this is sort of against my own, there shouldn't be anything here in the bass line, because it gives you a note and it's harder to mix out when you have a bass line. But I like this sound a lot, so I just kept it there. In fact, if I would have done it in the old school way, I would have had another half a minute of just beats after that, but it ended nicely there. Somebody asked about stereo image. We can quickly take a look at that as well. Okay, that's the logic part. Look, it doesn't
go up more.
Yeah, but so screw that.
Take the other window.
Open mixer. All right, let's do that. So this track doesn't have any great stereo tricks itself. I think I can say that, but it's all the let's just see. The basses don't have anything. Sometimes I have the mid basses and stuff. They are a little like opposing sides, but I didn't do that at all. Here I have these two bendy thingies, like I actually showed earlier. They are panned a little separately, but then I have this where is it? Hold on. Actually, I think I might be thinking about another track. Oh yeah, because I stem mastered. So I don't know if this is getting long in a tooth for you or anybody else, but this is basically my final mix, and I was happy with the width and the width of the synths, and they just come from the presets themselves. Some of the presets in synths have echoes and reverbs and stuff that make them lush on their own, but usually you just have to tame them down. Take the wet from 50% to 10 or 20 or whatever if you want to use them, which I've done usually from like Silent and actually especially Nexus. But then when I did the mastering, which normally, or I don't always do mastering myself, but I sent your label my master, and then my unlimited thing. I actually at this moment I don't know if they used my master or
they used it.
Okay, well that's cool. cool.
It was spot on, they said.
Okay, well, nice. That's good. But so I'll show that the stem master then, because okay, I don't need either of those for this. I haven't installed one of the waves things here yet. I just renewed my waves the plan. Gosh, I can't know. And there was a what happened. This NLS bus thing wasn't in the earlier 9 version, but now they added it to my bundle, so I don't have that installed. But I actually didn't use it in this one. I tried it. So this is the exact same thing that you just saw, but now this is all audio. And I did 2 things here too. First of all, I noticed here that I made a mistake or left out some stuff in the snares. So I fixed it here just on an audio track. added some. And then I added a snare to the loops. So here is what it sounded like. Bounced, and then and I just added it here because I wanted to. I don't know why I didn't go back to the... And then I did a little bit of a bass fade on the other. There was a sub bass in the second breakdown. And I made it fade out just a little bit. That's just audio edits in the... So on my effects channel, nothing. Vocals, I have a bus here and sending to a bus, and then this is what I did. These are, yeah, so this is just a bus send where I, hold on a second, yeah, so yeah, where I pushed the mids up a little bit, found a couple of things that didn't work for my purposes. What I did here was I noticed in my final mix or the stem mix that my vocal is a little quiet. So I actually went in here, and this is mono, and I just basically pushed mono up a little bit. So I don't know even if you hear it. Let's see. Because your vocal mix is quite stereo. There's a lot of the delays going wide, this wide. So especially with headphones, you can hear that there's just -9. I mean, when you do extreme, you hear the difference. But so it's -9 was my sweet spot. And when you there. At least I think that the dead center mono is a little higher, like a dB or 2, whatever higher with that. That was just my well, doing the vocal a little louder here in the center. So I don't have the ultra channel, which actually should be registered on this machine, but it's not for whatever reason. The iLock thing sometimes does that. What I did on this one, so I have my synth channel where the main synths are, and I'm sending to a bus, and what I'm calling widener. And what I'm doing here is pitch shifting, and this is left and right -10 and +10. And then the ultra channel does actually a little bit of similar thing, but it depends on but it has many things. But it has a little bit of an EQ, it has a chorus, and it has a widener where you can. I think it has like a doubler thing. And then so that on top of the +/-10, and then there's Valhalla, a little bit of Verb. What did I do with the ozone? Oh yeah, so I this is an exciter. Did a little bit of excitement for the sides, or the well, not sides, but high end. Then I don't know, an EQ. And then what did I do here? Yes, I think this is making it pump a little bit. So low end pumping above, below 527, and then this just the high end just 11%. I don't know if that makes any difference, but so if you listen to that soloed, it's a very small difference, but the idea is just a tiny bit of extreme widening. And sometimes I do it in a project where I can send various amounts of various things into my widening bus. Sometimes I don't. So now I just decided to do it here. This one doesn't have it at all. This is just a and then it goes to the master, actually the stems, and that goes straight to master. And you can look at my horrible stems bus overloading, but I'm taking it down. Yeah, and so linear EQ, there was a couple of things that were screaming in my ear. A little bit of a boost in the highs and mids. This is my mastering channel setup. Very normal for me. I don't know if this is good or not. It works for me. First I have the very old R-Comp. I really like it. This is a preset that I've tweaked a little bit to my liking. I think the ratio is about the same. The release is quite quick, attack is really slow. Threshold I adjust per track, of course, and before that I adjust the gain so that usually I'm peaking -2, -2.5 gain reduction, but normally even in a chorus it's just like, so there's very little gain reduction there. For whatever reason I like the sound of it. Then with the gain you can also adjust the gain staging. Then I have a compressor doing idiotic things, but let's go there. 2.5, so it does that basically, but I'm only feeding it. So it's a basically parallel compression that brings up a little bit of basically volume, but so if in a very quiet parts, it's sometimes I can't use those settings because it brings you hear the distortion.
Too much, yeah.
But and again, like that's, I don't know how good that is. Then I have waves, Kramer tape. That is I don't know if you use this, but this is, well, I mean, it's not the lowest setting for the flux, whatever, that's the distortion amount, the magnetic, whatever, I don't know the lingo, but the further you turn this, the more nasty distortion it gives. This is like the lowest, and then it's how much you drive that determines how bad the distortion is. I'm not looking for audible distortion, but if you, the bass changes quite a lot. It's loud, it's rounder, softer, but louder, and then the stereo width changes a little as well overall. But I think it's very, very minor. Then I use vitamin. Nothing much changes here also from track to track. What I do here is the low mids. I mean, yeah, low mids I guess, but depends of course where you put the frequencies. But below 1,000 hertz or so. No, actually, hold on. Yeah, I'm making it quite, well, somewhat narrower, but nothing other to the frequencies. And then in the like the mids and whatever those are, high mids, I guess people call them different things all the time, but I add a little bit of excitement, like it's just an exciter, and a little bit of width here as well. So narrower low end or low mids and a little bit of exciter there. And then people are gonna hate me for this, but I love my sausage fattener. But I'm driving it so that it doesn't break anything. What I really like about it is that when you use it just a little, it preserves attacks and punch, but it brings level up quite well. That is becoming, though, sort of obsolete now when Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music, Tidal, they're all using the around -14 UFS levels, so you don't have to squeeze the life out of everything. But club play still needs a little bit of this. And then I'm ghetto, and then I'm just squeezing a dB out of it anyway. And then on my master, then I got these where I try and study what's going on. And then also shaper box, but it's not doing anything else than giving me a waveform. So I see what's going on the waveform on the track. And now then when you look at the final track, it's actually quite sausage, but it's not trash. It's quite comparable levels wise with commercial equivalents, but hopefully not too crappy, not too squashed. Switch.
Thanks, John Paris, for the comment.
Yeah, guys.
Gladly, Nick. One day, hopefully, when my wallet is big enough to travel to the States.
There we have it. Aika makkara. We can now turn that down for the stream a little bit. I'm using the headphone out for here to control it.
I have the Zoom H6 as well.
Yeah, I love that thing. Yeah, so all right, guys, we are, I think, getting
nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, that's
Time flies.
time flies. Yes, and so somebody posted, at least on Twitch already. Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Facebook, on
Twitter?
Max Millian, Twitter as well, Instagram, DJ Max Millian, then go for Twitter.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's about it.
and the spelling is MAX and million as almost a million, but
When I start making rap, then I'm going to go Max.
yes, million as a Finn would say. And he's my fellow countryman, and been doing this stuff for a little while, but last year or two you've had got a couple of releases out on foreign labels, and definitely getting there. I've liked the stuff for a long time now, and this is the first one I got my hands on to mess with, so to say. And you know,
Hopefully not the last one.
you know, guys, now he owes me at least a remix. We haven't figured out what else we're gonna do. Maybe arm wrestle or something like that. Cool.
But yeah, any last questions, I think?
Yes. No.
For me or for Ville or about the track, original, anything. And thanks Cyrus again for sharing my SoundCloud I forgot as well, and Spotify of course.
Well, Cyrus, thanks for those. I don't need to type them out. I'm gonna go on Facebook myself and post them in right about now. Let's just tidy it up a little bit. Alright, so some are there now, ready to be clicked, and we can do save something. We do the same here. Post boing. Hide
That one.
nasty messages. We don't need those. Cry or just keep on crying. I'm not gonna twerk for you, dude. You really don't want me to? Seriously? Wow. Okay. How about while we do this, we're gonna do one last. No, I'm gonna play that another time. Let's stop mine, and we're gonna play Max's original. Get it going. By the way, did you ever watch Miami Vice back in the day, or do you remember?
No, I didn't.
You're a little younger than I am, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
So this bass line sound, if you compare them side by side, not exactly, but there's something in the vibe that makes me think of Crockett's theme, like the original.
Okay.
You just have to go start like the chords with the whatever. I think it's like Roland D50 synth that has a preset where that sound comes from the synth, but has a very similar vibe in the arpeggiated the bass line thing. All right. Please come to Brazil. Please have your local amazing Brazilian promoter book me. I'd be happy to come. It's been a while. Alright, so it's weird the reach of Facebook Live has dropped. Facebook has done something to the algorithms, because I've had like sometimes I do a 15-minute live stream from the soundcheck and I get a lot.
I think it's probably about depending on your location.
That's true. Anybody? Oh, actually, yeah, we were too late. We sort of missed the. I've got a couple of Australians that come hang out as well, but I mean it's early morning there now, so they wouldn't come here. Oh, one thing I thought I'd show for you as well. So I use software called Things for all kinds of stuff. But you know, it's a to-do
list.
kind of thing. GTD, getting things done, is the system, or I guess not ideology. Ideology is a little too big of a word for that, but system to do it. So it's based on an inbox. Any idea or thought you get, you put in an inbox. If you can't do them in, say, the first 2 minutes, the next 2 minutes, you put in an inbox. The idea being that you can then forget it, but you're sure that you have the idea, it didn't go anywhere, right? And it's based on reviews, so every day or every week or whatever your frequency is, you review the inbox items and you put them where they belong, meaning part of a bigger project, part of, for me it would be like either Darude admin or Darude studio work, family this, friends that, whatever, and then you go through your stuff and then you pull from that stuff to your today view. And then today, you take a look, what am I going to do today? And a lot of it has to do with circumstances or situations, places. So I can't ever, or don't want to ever make a 2-hour-long phone call when I'm in my studio, right? So in my studio, situationally, I'll make music. Well, sometimes, yeah, I do phone calls, but that's a allocated phone time thing, and it's not. Often I speak on the phone when I drive a car, but I can't do my studio work. So then it helps with you compartmentalize, I guess, or put things in boxes that you open when you can and want to. But so what I do with my stuff is I have a basic template, for instance, says empty track project, idea, arrange drums, and then when I start working on a track, I throw stuff in there. My initial ideas, sometimes here in the original track only, sometimes here in samples, whatever. I put them there, and then I have like even my final mix. Obviously I know what to do with my final mix, but it says put tracks in buses or auxes, tweak the EQs of single tracks, buses, blah, 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 blah. And I go through my checklist almost every time. I don't have to do it because I know what I'm doing, but to me, I love picking things off. Did that, did that, did that. And then that makes me just see the progress as well. And then also, so on the flip side, when I work, I see stuff getting less and less. I also know that I'm getting closer to the end, and for whatever reason, that also makes me not want to figure out more things to do on a track, because in our kind of time now, we can work on a track forever. We can add things and we can refine. Yeah. But I've been working very hard in a way that I try to limit my time in a good way, so that I can't feel like I have to decide and I have to commit now the track is done. Or so this works for me really well. And basically, when you're done with something, so your guys did the radio edit, so I could just click it and it vanishes, and now I'm done. The last one would have been, which I like to do, like that. And now we're about done. So, and so then I can click done, and it disappears from my. And so, and then also, I'm pretty sure you do the same, whether it's like this or on paper or phone or whatever. But you drive your car and you listen to your half-done track. Huge mental notes going on all the time, or you say your phone like, "Hey, the 2:15 add or whatever it is." And for me, a car, driving a car is the best place because you can't do anything else but listen and think. So when you have your track here in the studio, it's wide open for you, and you listen to the whole big picture. But oh, I want to do this little thing, and then the whole thing kind of vanishes because you start tweaking little things. But in a car, you just have to listen to the whole thing through, and that's where I am the most critical, and that's where I sort of make most of my progress, because I just can't do anything else but listen. And then also, I think some of it has to do because you actually have to concentrate on the driving, and doing that, and so then you're not also like looking into stuff all the time, like
Yeah.
really tightly, but you have to just like all of a sudden you notice that, hey, I didn't realize that that synth is that wide or that narrow or whatever mental note, and then the next time I write it up down. Actually these days you can Siri it up to things. I have the same app here which syncs to the computer, so
Okay.
works really well for me. All right, guys who are on Facebook, you should after the stream go again and check the pinned post. I did a track called We Love Houston, and I'm selling it or giving it to you free on my Bandcamp account. It's a Houston, well, Hurricane Harvey benefit. 100% proceeds go to Houston Food Bank, and you can get the track for free as well. Even if you don't feel like paying right now, you can, or you just don't feel like, it's all good, but please share the post anywhere you want. That would be the biggest help for me to get it out there. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thanks for having me on the stream, and thanks for remixing this. It's quite a huge honor for me.
Oh, come on.
For you doing it, and I hope, yeah, that I'm glad that new people find my music at some point.
Well, cool.
So,
I think so. I've got a couple of tracks coming. I can't say right now where, but I'm very excited. I've got now actually, well, one track that I can. We've already played a little bit with Ashley Walbridge, a track called Surrender. That's coming out, I think, in about a month or whatever. I don't have a specific date, but that's kind of the plan. And then I have at least 2 more tracks that I know now that are coming out in the next few months, and maybe one of those or one of my other tracks that I already have sort of ready, and maybe we could look into you doing a remix, so I can send a package to
definitely.
the label. But it's I'll just send you stems one of these days when I figure out which one.
You do that, and
Cool.
I hope that I can return the favor.
Yeah,
at some
course.
point.
I think so. And yeah, I suck at ending these because it's always like, and yeah, what's next? And so what we're gonna do now is then we're gonna first end a YouTube stream. YouTube, thank you guys for coming around, and even thank you for the Sandstorm comments. Keep them coming. I have other stuff that has been released since, but it's all good. I'm gonna stop the stream now, and see you next time. Are you sure?